next speaker is Head of Success at Guild, which managed to have a community from 0 to 200K members. And so we'd like to hear about what you did for gamification. And we come on board, Hanna.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for everyone coming today. I hope you can hear me. My name is Hanna, and I'm Head of Success at Guild.xyz. And today here, I just want to have a quick chat with you about how we scaled our community at Guild from 0 to 200K without any tokenization, but with gamification. So if you're not familiar with Guild, or you need just a bit of reminder, what's Guild? Guild is actually a homepage and toolkit for on-chain communities. Here you can see a slide of almost everything that's possible with Guild. Basically, Guild is designed to automate membership, build advanced membership structures, tokenize communities, run gamified quests, as well as building loyalty point systems, and all in a CB-resistant way, which basically means that we do have a lot of integrations that actually enables you to build proof of humanity, proof of personhood into your own community, while you're keeping the community safe without any CBLs. Here on this slide, you can also see a few more features that I put there to get a better understanding of what else is actually within our toolkit. But if I would just talk about it, that would be for another talk, a lot of things. So let's focus on communities now. Basically, whether you're a member of any community or you are building one, there are these values that we all can share and we all can resonate with. Here I just put here a triangle, community in the middle, as usual. The top 3 things that I realized while working with thousands of communities within the past few years is, even if the different community structures, the community goals can vary, there are these core values deep inside that actually almost the same for everyone, and we all can resonate with it. And here are the 3 values that I put out here. The first one is recognition and rewards, engagement and enjoyment, and growth. Recognition and rewards actually entails that when you are within a community, you want to feel valued, you want to feel incentivized and rewarded for all the efforts that you're putting into the community, as well as all your contributions. Engagement and enjoyment, in short, communities should be fun in any way. We go to communities and we join communities because we want something that we can engage with, because there's the whole hype around, there's the engagement around, and we want to feel that okay, there is this place where I have the opportunities to have valuable contributions, connections, and everything else that comes with it. And the final one that I put here is growth, which actually entails both personal growth and community growth. Because I think when you want to join a community, you're part of a community, you do want to have self-development. You want to, whether you are sharing your skills or other community members are helping you to improve. This is one thing that's important personally for you. But on the other hand, you want the entire community to succeed. You want it to grow. You want to be, make an impact and be part of, the goal that the community has. When I joined the team around 2.5 years ago, I started as a community manager, and the main focus for me was to, okay, we have a product, let's build a community around it. I know that there are communities who do the opposite way. There is every single type, when you have the community and you're building something together, but we had it the opposite. So our situation was building a community around the product while building the product around the community. When I joined, we always said that we want to create something that has the mutual benefits. We don't want to create a community only to just, hey, that's Guild, you should use it, it's cool. No, we want you to be part of it. I will share more things about how we did it, but the co-creation and collaboration was a really big, really key part of it. speaking about like what we valued, here I put our value stack, like what we put the biggest focus on over these past few years when we were building. We always focused on building game-like experiences, matching opportunities with members, and as well as like focusing on co-creation. And what was really unique about that, like how we wanted to create, how we wanted to achieve this, is all in a scaled way. Because we are a really a small team. Actually, we started like 18 of us or something like this. 16 of them are developers, as usual, with the product. So it was like the 2 or 3 of us who were like, okay, let's build a community. And we wanted to build it in a scaled way. We wanted to have the organic growth, to have the growth like boosted by automations, you know, scalable solutions, like scaled solutions, because the team, we said like the team won't be the one growing. We were like, we don't want, you know, make it harder, just make it smarter. Like do it however you can. And we were really fortunate, like we were the ones building the product. So then we had, you know, a lot of impact and efforts put into that. Now I want to talk about these 3 things, and the first one that I mentioned was building game-like experiences. We always say that like communities should be fun, communities should be something that, you know, have a game kind of game-like experience in it. And it should be done like from onboarding to activations. We actually have, I put here a few different like features and elements of Guild, and I just want to give you an insight like how we did it. One of the most successful campaign that we had were Guild pins. Guild pins are soulbound NFTs, kind of like a proof of membership, proof of join collectibles. And what we did, we didn't want to just launch it, say like, okay, we have this new feature, new reward type. We actually did a whole campaign around it with partners, and we did it all in a gamified way. When we first started doing it, imagine it like we partnered up with someone and we launched a Guild pin within their community. So we said like, okay, Uniswap, Stargate, Base, they have all their pins, and we made a whole leaderboard, a whole system around it. When we first started like dropping the Guild pins, like daily, weekly, we actually didn't tell anyone like where the next Guild pin is going to be. We actually shared just clues, riddles, like some secrets to share, some secrets to unlock, which actually made it more exciting than just rather writing a new feature announcement like, hey, this is possible with Guild, like, hey, actually we want you to find it, like what's possible with Guild. So we had the whole system around it. We had the leaderboards where the faster they were and the more pins they were holding, like they were more, you know, on top, on higher on the leaderboard. And then we just rewarded them with actually like physical pins and like a love package from Guild when they were in the top 100 leaderboard. And then basically what we realized is there was this really big engagement around it, like really big product adoption. And we wanted to make it like possible for everyone else. We wanted to make it possible for everyone who is building a community, who is building a guild. So leaderboards became our best friends. We actually launched a points engine, which actually enables everyone to do their custom points system. So you can call it an XP, you can call it a gem, you can call it spice, anything that resonates with your brand. And basically you can decide like which actions, which activities within your community or with your product you actually reward with these. And on the other hand, what we also realized, and I'm not sure if you saw it around, but quests are kind of the history, like the dry quest, like do this, do that. What we really need, the new meta, is actually secrets to unlock. So we also created this system where basically there are these membership tiers, there are these roles and tasks within your guild, and you can decide whether you want it to make only visible for role holders or only visible to, you know, to everyone at the very beginning, and then just making it more secret by hiding it. So it's all up to you what you are making with this. But the main point here is when you have the game-like experiences, it can result in long-term growth because there is the adoption, there is the engagement around, which is more successful rather just announcing anything that's happening within your community or your product. The second one that I got here is matching opportunities with members. So when you have these gamified experiences, you actually have, a lot of people within your community. And what everyone should be focusing on is engaging around like high value initiatives, which actually means that like there are so many members within your community who has these different but shared interests. Let's say, for example, I will tell you everything like to better understand it, but let's say someone is, a developer, someone is building a community, someone is just here for the hype and they are just collecting your guild pins. These are the people who you should actually focus on based on the facts, based on the things that you actually value. And this is what it means when you are just engaging and re-engaging around these high value initiatives. To better understand this slide, Guild is best described with 3 primitives: requirements, roles, and rewards. Requirements can be like off-chain and on-chain, like identities, tasks to do, or collectibles, held assets, allow lists. So here you can see that, for example, we can actually track, and this is what we did with our community also. Like we track like who is holding our guild pin, so we know that like how to engage them further and how to make them like more excited about like what's coming next. Or else someone has like 100 gem, so they are on top of my leaderboard maybe. So I know that like these are the people who I want to have a closer connection, who I want to have like reward more, and so on. Or, for example, speaking about like off-chain and on-chain requirements, we actually track that like who is a guild admin. Because as I mentioned earlier, like one of the biggest focus that we had was like building together. And we actually tracked, for example, who are the guild admins with over 1,000 members. So we knew that like, okay, they are looking for something to build. So we actually, like if you're going and just checking the slide, you can see that like we actually rewarded the guild admins with access to alpha features. Or if we are talking about the on-chain side of it, we actually checked like on-chain actions, like how many contracts they deployed. So we know that like I'm not going to give access to the same group chat for someone who is, collecting guild pins and someone who is actually a core part of the base ecosystem and, like developing and just looking for looking for people with really similar interests to connect with. So these are the requirements. The roles are actually the unit that makes up your membership structure. So it can be a pin holder, an OG collector, or a guild builder, as well as like based. It all depends on you how you call these roles. And here comes the most important part, is when you have these people all within your community, you actually, based on all these data, you can actually reward them. And you can actually give them a reward that actually resonates with them. So for example, when talking about the campaign, how to keep up the hype, there's going to be like 10 more pins, we are dropping. What we did is actually we just gave them a role and rewarded them access to a really unique chat. And as I mentioned earlier, like we didn't announce like where the next pin is going to be. So what we did, we created this gated chat and we put there like 5 minutes earlier. Like everyone who already had a pin had a 5 minutes, 5 minutes before the public announcement like went up, and they could be actually the very first ones to just mint it. And then there were these speculations going on, like, hey, what do you think, guys? Where's going to be the next pin? And then basically, like, connections can happen. Or it goes to the same when they are already on your leaderboard, they are already collecting, they are the OG collectors. You can just not only give them access to your chat, but also just reward them with a loyalty NFT. So it's going to be there, in their wallet address across every applications. So they can be like your proud advocates, like, hey, I'm part of this community. I'm so proud to be here and, join these different campaigns and different actions. And then they can have that loyalty NFT with them. Or when we are talking about admins, like as I mentioned earlier, we actually granted them access to alpha features. So it wasn't only like, hey, there's this alpha feature, just, put it into your community. We actually had a really close connection with them with, through Telegram chats or Discord channels and so on. And we actually gained a lot of feedback from them. So we worked closely together on these different alpha features and listening to them, what the actual, needs of on-chain communities are. And same goes for the developers. When you have the developers like within your community that you want to just identify, you can actually just grant them access to a Telegram group where they can actually whether build something within, for example, if we're talking about the base ecosystem, they can actually build something, which is in connection with Guild within the build ecosystem. So there are, a lot of cross collaborations that we can work on. The third one that I wanted to talk about is all in connection with everything that I shared earlier, which is co-creation and advocacy. Like once those opportunities are matched, once you really know who your members are, like this is the key for your community to succeed, you can actually focus on all this co-creation and advocacy. Like this sentence, like building with passion, why do it otherwise, is actually within like our white paper that we launched on the very first day when we started the community. And then this is something that we still focus on and still want to highlight whether we are talking with someone. Even if it's our community or the base community or any other partner that we have, it's like just build it with passion, because actually when you are a community manager, the vibes that you are just giving out in the community, you're gonna almost get the same back. So it's always important to show your interest, match the opportunities, and focus on co-creation together. Here are the main 3 tiers that we had within our community. The first one are the wardens, who are the community builders that we talked about, the knights, who are our core contributors, and the guilders, who are just members within our guild. They just have to join our guild, and then they become a guilder. So how we actually co-created with our wardens is through these alpha features, through these feedbacks that we had over calls, over text, anything. And also, we just wrote up a lot of success stories, which was not only about chilling, but also just giving some inspiration to other community builders. Like it was something, for example, that we did. We had these different closed events for the wardens where one community builder just came up, they shared what they've been building, we wrote up, something on Mirror about them, and then we could actually just share it with other community members. Like this is something really key within the success team also, that if you have the proof, you can say anything that, it would be cool if you would do this or do that. When you have the proof, hey, XYZ did that, and how successful they were, it's going to put more impact on them also. So this is how we co-created for mutual benefits. With the Knights, they are our core contributors and the biggest advocates within our community. And what we realized is once you, focus on your most active members who generate value within your community, they will actually just be the biggest advocates within the community. We had, for example, a lot of opportunities where one of our knights actually just introduced us to a new partner, hey, I know that you are working on this. How cool it would be if you partner up with XYZ. So once you just grab these people with, you don't even need to be tokenized or just not talking about token rewards. But if you just put your efforts and put your, thoughts and your focus on them, you will have a lot of value generated together. And for example, one of my favorite projects that we built with Guild is actually a community dynamics Telegram bot that one of our knights did. They actually created Dune dashboards about how other guilds, how other communities are growing, how many mints, how many pins were minted, and so on. Until this day, we are using the dynamics dashboard on daily basis. And this is something that they know because we talked about this on our social media. Also, we just keep keep granting them access to everything to feel early. So this is working like really good for us, as well as like when there was a major event, for example, in the crypto space, they were engaging and they were just suggesting to run community-led events. So it helped us a lot because this is something that you don't have to do as a community builder, as well as like when you have these fresh eyes, you know, on your community, they can have such amazing ideas. Like, hey, we should do this, we should talk about that. And maybe you are so focused, you know, you are so much in your bubble, you don't see that like what they actually see. And this is something that you can actually just, you know, create values with them. And on the final side, I also wanted to mention our members, because it's not only the smaller groups that you have, whether we are talking about 100 person, a 10 person, but also like guilders who were actually our members. And how we co-created with them is not only skill sharing and guidance, because I think it's also co-creation and advocacy. When you go into a community, I'm sure you had this experience, you go into a community, you're getting lost or you don't find anything, and then they are actually helping you. And they, you know, they are just their members supporting the community that they are part of. So it can be such a great, you know, way to just share your skills, just share whatever you know about that thing that they are asking about. And beyond these, we also had like member-crafted content, which, you know, it's one thing that you can create, one thing that you can just retweet or talk about on your socials or just grant them, you know, special perks, but also we're using it on a daily basis. So for example, one member-crafted content is a Telegram sticker pack. Like we know that like in the crypto space, it's such, you know, a big part of our like culture, the whole cult here. And then this is what they help with, not only guides, just, you know, making these sticker packs, helping one another. So as a whole, we actually really like advise to anyone who is starting a community or building a community to just find your people and just focus on them. And then there's going to be the organic growth happening, and they will be having the same, so they're going to have, you know, and attract like really similar people to them. So these are all the things that I had for today. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope that you got some, you know, insightful tips that you can take home with you. If you are looking for, if you can find me actually on any socials at Igbenhan, or you can find Guild at Guild.xyz on Twitter, Telegram, and so on. So thank you so much.
Do we have any questions?
Yes, we do. I wanted to start with the thank you for your presentation. It was very insightful and impactful, I guess, for all of us as a community builders. So my question is about like the onboarding of the new users. If you can maybe like, everything's all right? So if you don't mind, what I'm curious about is the onboarding part of the new users. If you can give us maybe like some tips in terms of also like where this landscape is going and how we can make it happen like way easier for new members to join and to easier understand what the project is about and what basically they're going to be doing inside of it.
Hey everyone, I'm here. Oh my God. I wonder like why it haven't happened for 20 minutes. Sorry, but I've been listening. Thank you so much. I've been listening.
No worries.
Okay, let's see. So regarding to onboarding, do you have anything going on now, or you're just listening, or you are just you're just interested of like what we are seeing at other communities?
I'm trying to understand like where all of this thing is going with the onboarding of the new users, you know, because most of the guys like basically like get out of the project because of, for example, for them like they cannot understand like, okay, I'm jumping in this community. It's hard to understand what's happening in there, and how do we can ensure like what are the tips behind that. So those people getting like educated decision to join these communities, and it's basically about the onboarding, how I get it.
Sorry. So what we actually see here and what we experienced is one of the biggest tips that you can, you know, just take home with you when we are talking about onboarding is really clear instructions, like really clear system. So maybe you experience it already when you're going into a Discord server and you see that like there's like 30 different channels, like, oh my God, what's happening here? How can I get involved? This is a tricky part about like being a community builder, because you actually have to guide your members to the initiatives that they want to get involved in. So when we are talking about like onboarding, like these roles can actually help you a lot when they, for example, join your guild, and they immediately, like based on their, you know, shared interests, their on-chain history, their, you know, what are they are doing on Twitter or on Discord, like based on these things, you can actually just narrate them into which channels they should be, you know, active at, as well as like, this is one thing when we are talking about specifically with Guild or in general onboarding. But for example, when we are talking about Discord and someone is, you know, getting onboarded on Discord, it's really, really key to have, you know, like the information out there from the very beginning, like what the community is doing, what are the different roles, how you can get involved. But here's the tricky part, is because you don't want everyone to get like a reaction role, rather you really want to, you know, onboard them like properly. And this is where the data comes into the picture. So I would say like information, data, and then it should be all good.
So if we're guiding the human being through all of the processes and actually giving him a chance to like be in the right spot, so that's what you're trying to say, right?
Could you
a bit louder, or?
No, I was just coughing, sorry.
So what you're saying is the user should have like clear guidance, like where he can find what, basically?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
So it helps a lot. So they are not like just jumping right into the middle where, for example, like developer discussions are happening, and they maybe potentially, for example, if they are getting onboarding in a wrong way, which means that like they are just jumping into developer discussions as a pin holder or community manager, they can actually just cause distraction, which can actually scare away the aligned members.
Exactly. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Is there anyone? I still have some voice and still have some air. If not, thank you so much for everyone coming here today.
Thank you, Anna.